Hello, everybody, and welcome to the movement. I'm your host and the creator of the movement, Lorianne, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. Today's show is one that we've been talking about doing for a while, and we will address this topic today and many other times because it's a topic that is just so prevalent to all of us mothers of only boys, as well as those who love us. So I'm going to just tell you, this is the episode. We say that this podcast is for MOOBs, mothers of only boys, and those who love us. This is the episode that you really want to share with those who love us. You want to clue them in to a little bit of what we're feeling about this topic and maybe make them a little bit more aware or sensitive to how we feel. Do I have you wondering what it is? Well, first, let me introduce my wonderful guest for today. This is Sam Moyes. Sam, welcome to the movement.
Thank you, Lorianne, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you. Sam shared with me just a minute ago that she is a virgin podcaster. And at our stages as MOOBs and with kids, it's nice to be a virgin at something, yes?
That's right. Not many things on the list at this point.
That's right. So we are glad to have Sam here because we are discussing, actually, let me backtrack a minute. Sam and I got acquainted on Instagram. So we will talk about social media and, the pros and cons of social media a little bit as we move ahead. But one of the pros is, for me at least, meeting people like Sam, who you may not meet in person so quickly, but you really get to share a lot of insights and get to know each other. And so I brought Sam on the show today to discuss the topic of gender disappointment. And the reason that we did that here is that Sam put out a very interesting reel on her Instagram, which we will encourage, we will actually repost it on ours and encourage you to go visit hers to listen to. But Sam, before we get into that and I ask you about that specific reel, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you and your family and your moobness, and let's start from there.
Yeah, so I've actually been on Instagram, posting. I've had like a lifestyle and wellness blog a really long time ago, and it's shifted all over the years, as my lifestyle has changed quite a bit. My main thing was I always wanted to be kind of like a mom blogger at one point. And like social media, everything has changed so much from like when mom blogging was such a big thing. So as soon as I had kids, I really just like wanted to use my love for writing and sharing and my openness and just share that with the world. So I've gone through many phases, but once I started having my kids and connecting, just like you said, with other moms on the internet, I just saw like this value and this tremendous community that everyone's building and you're building here. And it just, I just keep getting like my passion keeps getting reinvigorated from that. So that's kind of like my why. At this point in time, like I'm a full-time working mom. I work in corporate. I work remotely. I have 2 kids in daycare, both boys, obviously. As I'm a fellow MOOB, and navigating that life, which is, it's it's a tough life being full-time working mom and, having this Instagram on the side. But I know that there's so many other moms out there. So I'm just trying to help other moms feel less guilty with choosing working mom life and using daycare and just being more confident in their choices so that they can live their happiest motherhood journey as possible. And that's kind of like the journey that I'm on.
And honestly, that is just so wonderful that you are looking beyond yourself and helping others. And one of the reasons that I wanted to discuss this topic of gender disappointment and this reel that you put out was because although it doesn't apply to everybody and every MOOB, when I put out a prompt for MOOBs, moms, our followers who send me questions and comment about the topic of gender disappointment, we were flooded with comments, with questions. We'll get to some of that later in our MOOB Mail segment. And I thought maybe we can help today some of those moms who are secretly maybe crying in the bathroom and not knowing how to navigate their feelings and maybe feeling some of the guilt. And I think talking about it and commiserating, or maybe that's not the right word, maybe just communicating with other moms who are in the same situation helps. It helps
Yeah.
with almost everything when you have a community behind you.
100%. Yeah.
So, yeah. So let's talk about why you posted that reel. Was that personal to you? And what made you decide to share that with the world?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm an open book. I wear my heart on my sleeve type person. What you see is what you get. And that's just kind of how I show up on Instagram as well. In regards to gender disappointment, I'm very careful with the words I use because, being on social media, you don't want your kid later down the line to come back and see something and think, I wasn't wanted, because that's absolutely not the case at all whatsoever. But I know that when I was told the gender of my second child, my husband and I, we really wanted a girl, but I wanted a girl more so than him. And so when we got that, we saw the boy, I immediately burst into tears, and it felt so soul destroying for me in a way. And it
Was it
took
just the two of you, Sam, or were you in a gender reveal situation type
No,
of thing?
we both decided we are not doing gender reveal for that reason, exactly for that reason. It was a shared thing in our home. We did the early results that you get when you do that like NIPT test.
Right.
So we were in our home, just us two.
So let me stop you for 1 second. What do you think it was that made you feel that way? Do you think that it had something to do with the life that you envisioned as having a daughter or a girl mom? That dream, was it about
Yeah.
you? About what do you think it was, thinking back about it?
I am a dreamer. I am someone who, before I even met my husband, pictured what my life was going to be like, and I've done that since I was a little kid. 100% exactly what you're saying. It's about and that's what I really wanted to share here today, is that has nothing to do with the life you've created. It has everything to do with the motherhood dream that you envisioned 10 years ago, maybe just a year ago, doesn't matter. But like, you have to come to terms with whatever you thought it was going to be is no longer your reality. And that right there is the grief that you feel. It is having to make peace with what your reality now is versus, it's a boy, it's a girl, whatever, gender disappointment you're feeling at the time. It's nothing to do with that. It comes from the fact that my mom and I are so close, and I wanted to have that relationship with my future daughter.
Right.
I already have a son. He's incredible, so like the second one, I'm like, I've already done that. I want to do something different, that type of thing. But it took me a while. It was a good week where I was feeling really upset, and then slowly you start to get out of it. And then once you meet that baby, like you just, and that's where this post that you saw, where that stemmed from. I'm like, almost a year down the line of giving birth to him, and he is the most incredible human being in the world. Like, he just emits sunshine. Like, he is like, you look at him and you're like, oh my God, I can't imagine life without you. Wouldn't want a life without you. So it's just like, I know that there's other women going through that right this moment, because I was there, this time last year. And then my post was like, hey, don't worry, you will get better. Once you meet that baby, these feelings will be such a distant memory. But I do remember how I felt, so that's kind of what that was inspired by.
Yeah, and I was joking a little bit about the gender reveal kind of thing. I'm a little older than you. My
Yeah.
three boys are grown. Their ages 37, 35, and 32.
Yeah.
So although we had opportunities to find out the gender with tests, amniocentesis, ultrasound back then,
Yeah.
I specifically chose not to find out my second until the baby was born.
Okay.
And I think I was probably trying to protect myself, because that I knew that if I found out, in my case, it was three boys,
Yeah.
and I found out I'm having another boy, and I was a little hormonal. I wasn't sure how, and pregnant, and I wasn't sure how I would be. And I knew, and I was right, that when they put the baby in my arms and he was healthy and beautiful, I really did feel nothing but grateful and,
Yeah.
so blessed.
Yeah.
But you mentioned before about guilt, and I'm wondering how you think guilt plays a role in it, because it's hard for us to admit what you and I are talking about right now. And I
Hmm.
think that's because we feel a little guilty, and selfish, maybe. I mean, what do you think it is that so many people don't really talk about it? I myself didn't really express those feelings or talk about those things until recently. Why do you think that is, that we feel guilty?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why I posted is because there's so much shame around admitting to those feelings out loud. And a lot of that has to do with social media. You don't want your kids to misconstrue your feelings later down the line.
Mhm.
And then you don't want your friends or even family or anybody to misconstrue what you're saying. There's also, the topic of if you've experienced pregnancy loss or like talking to a friend who has fertility issues, saying, oh, I'm really upset that I'm having another boy, and them being like, well, at least you can get pregnant. Like you want to be sensitive to those things, so then you feel in yourself, you're feeling a little like, oh, am I the a-hole in this situation? And you're not. Like, you can validate your feelings. Like, if you have your feelings, they're your feelings, there for a reason. We're all on our own experience, like on our own journeys, living our own experiences, our own lives. So I felt the first thing was like, I did feel a lot of shame that I was feeling these things because I had experienced pregnancy loss, like a miscarriage, just before I got pregnant with him. So it was like, I should just be grateful. Like, why do I even have these feelings, But, and the first thing I did was I opened my phone, I Googled, I probably got on ChatGPT. I know I went on forums to be like, is there anyone else in this position? Have they experienced this before? And I didn't, it was really hard to find something. But that's when I never forget it. I read this comment that said, you're grieving the motherhood that you thought you would have. That's what's going on. And I was like, that's exactly it. Because I couldn't
It's the
make sense of
dream.
it.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
It's the dream.
And as soon as I was able to put those words to my feeling, I the shame, the guilt, all of that for having those feelings just kind of went away. And I was like, I need to talk about this a little bit more because I know there's so many other people. And I've had people reach out to me because I've posted a couple times about it and saying, this really helped me. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. We all want to know that we're not the only ones, and you're never the only one going through anything in motherhood. There's someone out there who's absolutely experienced that.
Absolutely. That is so true. And speaking like this absolutely validates the feelings, and hopefully will enable other people to speak up. And, whether it's speak up in a public forum like this, speak up on social media, speak up to their friends and family. I
Yeah.
think that's really, really important for me. And I'm wondering when you maybe had first heard the term gender disappointment, but for me, when I first, and it was actually right after I started this podcast, heard the term, I felt, wow, there's a name for that. It kind of validated for me that obviously there are other people who feel that way. And then I started finding out all about books being written, and people and articles and blogs and so much on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. And just hearing the term, I think made me feel just validated that I
Yeah.
wasn't alone.
Right. I think it's actually more common than people think. And it doesn't even have to do with the same gender. It's not only boys, not only girls. Some people, I know, have friends that wanted only boys. I had friends, it can happen in any way, shape, or form. And it's just, it all comes back to all the vision you had for yourself that, well,
So
you
do
have
you
no
think
control over
that,
it.
I wonder about that sometimes. Do you think that there are women who really just want all boys, that
Yeah. I
really,
had a friend
or
who
do you
was like,
think that they're really not
yeah.
admitting to themselves for again, protection or something, that they don't want to say it?
Well,
You
one
think
of
that
my
is the
friends
case?
told me she had a boy and a girl, and she said, I wanted only boys because I don't want to deal with girls and their drama. and
Okay.
and I'm like, well, that's so, because I was talking to my friends about this when I found out, and I had a friend that was a boy mom, and I had friends that had, just one kid, that it was all different types, like shapes and sizes, where it came from. But yeah, she did say that, and I found that so interesting. I'm like, well, and at that, hearing that actually helped me, because I'm like, wow, we really all are dreaming up our own version of, perfection or whatever you want to call it, and life never goes that way, and it's all about being able to shift with what gets thrown at you, really.
Right, right. just curious, you mentioned your husband. How did he react? First of all, about having two boys, and second of all, about how you were feeling.
Yeah, I mean, he's a wonderful guy. He said it would be nice to have a girl, but I'm happy with that we're having a baby. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of his thoughts on it. But he was incredibly empathetic to, like how I was feeling. And he knows like the deep rooted reason why I wanted to have a daughter. I want to raise a strong, independent woman. I wanted the experience of being able to mother a daughter the way my mom mothered me. And, I just, how close we are, I wanted that closeness. It's not to say I won't be close with my boys. But it's a different relationship, He was great, he threw out the, well, we could have a third. And I'm like, don't say that in the moment. You may come to regret that. Cause I think he's very much like, not sure if I want a third.
Yeah.
But he was just trying to make me feel better at the moment.
Right. And if you have a third, it could be another boy. I had 3 boys. And again, like, I think probably you would agree with me. Tell me, if somebody came and knocked on my door, whether it be now or 20 years ago, and said, I will trade you one of your sons for a daughter. Oh my God. I love my sons.
Yeah,
I would,
no.
I
Hard
mean,
no.
and I know, hard no. And you're right. I think it's letting go of what you envisioned your life to be like. And the other part of that is that you just gave your older son a brother. And
Yes.
I'm here to tell you, yours are young. There is nothing like that brotherhood.
Yeah.
I mean, my boys are so close. It's unbelievable. And it's a bond that I think, I don't know, because I don't have girls, about the sisterhood bond. But I think the brotherhood bond is, they have competition in a different kind of way. It's a little more like physical friendly.
Yeah.
But they're really, really tight and bonded. And I think that the best thing you can do for them is give them that brotherhood. And it's just a really nice thing to watch.
I mean, my oldest has been amazing since day one. He's obsessed with his little brother. We had a bit of a wider age gap than other people do, about 3 years. And all he's done is look after him and love on him.
That's
And
nice.
they love each other. So yeah, absolutely. I can already see that, and even though they're young, like I can see that they're going to be close and obsessed with each other. And I, see how that develops over the years. But yeah, no. And that's something that like, I love that I have those 2 boys, and like thinking, oh, they might be each other's best men at each other's weddings one day, and that's just
I'm sure they will be. Mine were.
Yeah. It's such a lovely thought. So
it is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So I do want to move on to one thing, because I really do hope we have some listeners specifically on this episode who are those who love us piece of the movement.
Yeah.
We get comments. We get things thrown at us. Our closest friends, allies, confidants will sometimes say things that they probably don't even realize kick us in the gut.
Yeah.
Tell me what you might have heard that might have really got you at a moment where somebody makes a comment that has to do with maybe you not having a daughter, or what you're missing out, or tell me.
I think the biggest thing is, oh, well, at least you don't have to deal with like the teenage years and the hormones and all of that and the drama. And I think there was a person who told me when I said we're having another boy, and they're like, well, they're easier is the one thing that you hear all the time. Well, they're easier, so you'll be okay. And someone did say, I don't know how to parent a daughter. And that's because they were scared. They were about to have a daughter. For me, I was like, I do. Like, I already feel like I do. I know what I'll do. I know, I want to do that. So like that comment, it was just taken at the wrong time, really bothered me, because I'm like, well, I can do it. I think it was a little bit of jealousy, to be quite frank. It was just, I was feeling jealous of them at that time. But, as parents, we don't, especially as first-time parents, you don't know what you're doing at all. Like every day I'm like, I don't know, I'm just going to do my best here. So yeah, I mean, you get those comments, but for me, like, it's my own, I always come back to, it's my own experience. Like, even if someone has a different view on it, that's their own experience, that's their own life. it doesn't really have anything to do with me. My experience is what I'm sharing.
Do you say something? I mean, when you're in a position where you're with somebody and they say something, I've had people say, actually, when I gave birth to my third son, I was literally had people visit me in the hospital say, "Are you going for a fourth? Are you going to try for the girl?" Um, I've been in situations that my closest friends say things, um, really having no idea that I react. And who I am, although I do also, I wear my heart on the sleeve and I'm an open book like you are. And it's
Yeah.
probably why I'm doing this podcast. Um, but I tend to not say anything. I tend to
Yeah.
just, swallow it.
Hmm.
What's the right thing to do? Is the right thing to do say, hey, you know, that really affects me, or to defend yourself? I'm not missing anything, guys. I'm pretty good where I am and grateful. What do you think? What do you do?
I think it varies person to person. I have friends who would just die at the thought of expressing their real emotions, and then there's me. I am very blunt and honest about everything. So if someone said something that really truly bothered me, I'd probably tell them right then and there. Like, I'm
Hmm.
happy. I don't know, like your opinion is your opinion, my opinion's mine. Again, I feel like we're all living our own lives, we're on our own journey. So, my experience is going to be very, very different to anyone else's experience. So while someone says, oh, at least they got their daughter, whatever, okay, good for them. My life is my life. So I kind of try to stay in my own lane in those scenarios. I would say for those that are closest to you, if they're making comments, you should absolutely talk to them. I think
Hmm.
it's never going to get better if you don't address it. So if you're in a scenario like that, yeah, absolutely. But if it's someone in the grocery store just making a comment, just whatever, walk away.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder though, like, is it better to say something and make a thing of it because you don't want them to feel guarded when they're talking to you? And,
Yeah.
like you say, there's this whole guilt thing, there's this jealousy thing. I mean, everybody can look at the jar half full or half empty.
Hmm.
I think sometimes it's nice to have conversations like this one. And even
Yeah.
with your best friends, I feel like you don't necessarily need to or want to confront that situation. But it's nice to have other moves, to have other, and this is why I
Yeah.
wanted to do this. I
Yeah.
felt that, sometimes we all get it and other people say things. Listen, all of you who love us, who are listening to this podcast right now, you say things and I don't want you to be guarded. Like, oh, I better not have this conversation in front of Lorianne because I don't want to hurt her,
Yeah.
because you don't want to have to censor your friends. But I do want them to understand that we have our own identity and it's a little different, and that maybe we can take that, what we term as gender disappointment, and make it into gender gratitude,
Mm.
because we are grateful and we love our boys and they love us. And, I actually look at it sometimes that, my friends who have all daughters, I sort of feel like a little bad that they're missing out on having boys.
Yeah, it goes back to like, oh, is the grass always greener? Well, I don't know because my side's looking pretty good. Like that. It's a mindset perspective. You just have to shift it. And I think when you have no control over something like life, very little. There's things we can control. Something like gender is that like almost absolutely not in your control for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So you get, and you, I mean, you love your kids, like at the end of the day, just like you said, if someone's going to swap, no one's swapping my kids out. Like, they are mine. There's a reason I'm their mother. There's a reason, they're my kids. So absolutely not, but you could still say my feelings were real and they were valid at the time that I felt them, but also like I've moved on from that, like you can have those feelings, but also know that they're not there forever.
Right. So here's the message to all of you moobs out there who are maybe experiencing some gender disappointment, who have one, two, multiple boys, maybe done having kids. We just had a guest on the show, the Miss Catherine, who just had her fourth boy. She's grateful and wonderful, and everybody should actually listen to her. Go to her Instagram. She's amazing as far as parenting advice.
Mm.
She's really terrific. But I think the message out there is, look at Sam, look at Lorianne. We have boys. We are fulfilled. We are grateful. We truly are also blessed to have this community, to have others out there to talk to and share with. And all of you listening, you have us too. So when we say join the movement, go on our website, join us, it's free, and, be part of this community. We're saying it because we believe the community is really good for all of us. And the more of us there are, and the more of us who share with each other and are honest with each other, like we can't be sometimes with others, the better it is for everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good thing. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you created here. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. It's really seems to be helping a lot of people, which makes us happy.
Yeah.
And on that note, we actually do have our MOOB Mail segment. And I did get flooded with all kinds of, this topic is definitely out there. And yeah. But I chose one in particular that I did want to read. So let's go through our MOOB Mail and have Sam join us in a response today for MOOB Mail.
Oh boy, it's that time. Woo, mail's here. Your voice meets mine. From your heart straight to our trail. Let's open up that MOOB mail.
Okay, this MOOB Mail came from a woman named Molly. And Molly wrote, "Hi, Lorianne. I love being a mom to my 3 boys, but sometimes it's the little comments from other people that really get to me. Someone will say, 'There's nothing like having a daughter,' or 'One day I hope you have a granddaughter so you can finally get your girl.' And I find myself thinking about those comments long after the conversation is over. I know people mean well, but they have no idea how much words can hurt. This is just what we spoke about. Yeah. Should I politely tell them about how those comments make me feel, or is it better to let it go and remind myself that they weren't trying to be insensitive? Should I speak up? Love, Molly."
I mean, if it's really affecting you, Molly, I think you do need to speak out. I think if it's something that's really getting to you, then yeah, honesty is the best policy. I hate to talking cliches, but really it is. If it's something that it's really doesn't bother you to your core, but you just think they're being rude, I mean, you always can brush it off, And again, I think it's really important to just sometimes stay in your lane and understand, like, this is my experience, my journey. I'm happy with where I am. I'm grateful to have my 3 boys, my life. I feel fulfilled, whatever. But if you are feeling those things, you do need to talk to those people. I'm a big supporter of airing things out with people closest to you. Nothing's going to get resolved.
All right. Say what's on your mind. And I think it really does depend on the relationship and who it is. Maybe you want to say something, but not make a thing of it. Like, don't make it such a big deal, but, just mention it in a kind of a, I don't want to say casual way, but in a way where they understand, but it's a one and done, talk about it and let's not harp on it, kind of thing. Yeah. And remember, Molly, you have the movement. So join us here and reach out to the other moms and we get it. We understand. We've all been in that situation.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I am going to read one more, and this came from Caitlin. Hi, Lorianne. I am pregnant with my 2nd son, and I'm scared I won't bond with him the way I bonded with my first. I already feel like I'm failing him even before he's born. Have other moms felt this way? What would you tell someone like me?
That's exactly how I felt when I found out my 2nd was a boy. Yes, 100%. Your 2nd is going to have a completely different personality from your first. And like, I heard that a lot when I was pregnant, but once I met him, and now he's almost a year old. So his personality is really coming out now. Completely different, and you love them for who they are, regardless of their gender. Like, that's the thing. Like, you love your kids because they're human beings and because you made them. So it almost like becomes something that does, like, insignificant, down the line. I lost a lot of the connection I had with my first when I was pregnant with my second, just because of the pregnancy, just because I brought a sibling into the mix. But so that time I just bonded really hard with my second, and it's so easy for me to say, a year down the line, you'll be okay, but like you really will be okay. You will get there. Your kids, you're gonna love them so much. Like the amount of love I have for them is just insane, and it'll be the same for you.
Yeah, I remember when I was pregnant with my second. You have your first, and it's the first experience, and you're just changes your world, rocks your world. And I remember not knowing if I was having a boy or a girl and having that same fear and panic. Will I love a second one as much as I love this kid? Oh my God. And you want to know the truth? It happened with my grandchildren. I had the first one. It's like, here comes another one. Am I going to love this one as much as I love that one? You know what? The answer is yes. There is just enough room in your heart to just love them all. And, it's, I guess you have to experience it to understand it. But,
the moment that baby gets placed on your chest, like you, any doubts you have are like straight through the window. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing like that feeling.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So Sam, just wrapping this up, let's leave the women out there who might be experiencing some gender disappointment, who might feel a little unsure about their own sense of guilt. What are your closing words for them based on your experience and what you've been through?
So the first thing is you're never alone in how you're feeling. If you're feeling shame, if you're feeling guilt, all of that, it happens. It's natural. My biggest advice to you, if you are feeling that and you're like, I need to get out of this headspace, start looking forward to all the things, all the positive things in the future. Like the first thing I did was, I felt my feelings, I sat in them. That's something I need to do before I can move on. And then I was like, I get to reuse all of my oldest clothes. Like that's going to save time and money. I get the exact same toys. We get to do, if we ever want to go on an experience or a vacation, like there's not going to be any fighting over like, oh, I want to do Barbies and I want to see dinosaurs. Like they're probably going to be into the same stuff. It makes things a lot easier. Just anything like that you can like start looking forward to start shifting your mindset ahead of baby's arrival. Because like I said, like as soon as you get that baby, like it just stops mattering. And talk to your friends, honestly. Like my mom friends, like being able to be completely vulnerable with them allowed me to, work through my feelings. They get it. You can talk to your husband, but like, I feel like, sometimes there's conversations that your mom friends just get a little bit more. And this is one of them, just be open with them, talk to them about it. Especially if you know a boy mom in your life, go talk to her. She's been there.
If you have another MOOB in your life,
exactly.
Absolutely. They get it. Reach out to some of us because we are constantly, and actually we're going to work on it because people have recommended that as well, like creating a community and meetups and things like that, and even 100%. Virtual meetups. So we're going to work on that, but we can certainly facilitate you meeting other moms because we have followers and members and people who have joined us from different locations. So we can facilitate that too and make some introductions. I'm a good matchmaker. So it definitely helps to talk to other people. The one other thing I'd like to add, just from, maybe being a little older and more experienced, that I've realized down the road, that some of the things that we talked about as far as what you were dreaming of your life with your daughter, are not necessarily out the window because you have sons. So there are things, because boys, maybe your boys are so into sports and you're not. Well, I would tell you, don't give up on the things you love just because you have only boys. Cook with them, garden with them, whatever it is, dance with them. I mean, I think, honestly, one of the things I did not do enough of in raising my boys was be a little bit more selfish. I spent a lot of time, and it was joyful, wonderful time, going to soccer fields and lacrosse fields and baseball fields and basketball courts. And it was wonderful. And we still have that bond together. but I probably didn't take them to the theater enough, and I probably didn't do things. I definitely, when we were on vacations, did not take them down Main Street of whatever town we were in to go shopping, because I knew they wouldn't really like to go shopping. And I
Yeah.
probably would have liked to go shopping. And I really wish that I would have done more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell young moms, like, just, it might be a little different than you imagined, but your boys love you and they really want to make you happy as well. And one day they're going to get married and they're going to be great. My boys are such good husbands. There are things like game night. I love playing Scrabble and playing games. And, I just didn't think my boys would really be interested in that. And I should have. I should have done that more, because now I see them with their wives, and all of a sudden, their wives are like, I want to play, whatever it is. And they're into it because they love their wives and they want to be part of that whole mindset. So, don't be afraid to tell them what you love and expose them to it, because you'd be surprised. You'd really be surprised.
That's like one of my biggest flexes so far in motherhood, is that my oldest favorite song is Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift. Like he only ever asks for Taylor Swift. And I was like, that's a good job done by me.
That's really
we're
good.
not stopping there.
That's right. Keep going,
Yeah.
Maybe he'll even sit down and watch The Bachelor with you once in a while.
Oh, we'll see.
We'll see. All right, Sam. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I think we've helped a lot of people.
I hope so.
And now you are no longer a podcast virgin, so congratulations.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be able to come on.
We loved having you. And do you want to tell everybody where to get in touch with you, about your Instagram, and how they can reach out to you further?
Yeah. I'm on Instagram. My username is It's Sam Moyes. You can follow me on there. DM me, reach out to me anytime. If anyone, if you need anything, a pep talk, anything, I'm here. Would love to have you follow me over there.
Terrific. All right, Sam. Thank you so much again. And to everybody else, to everybody else listening, I'm going to end the podcast the way I always do. But before I do that, I just have a couple of asks. So hang in there for 1 second. I'm going to ask you to please follow us at The Movement on Instagram. And please visit our website, www.themovement.com. We have a lot of exciting things on the website recently added. One of them is to ask you to join the movement. It's free. You'll be automatically entered into giveaways every month. The first one this month is for a MOOB t-shirt, which we will post on our Instagram. They're adorable. And they help you feel like you're a MOOB and part of the community, which is great. I'm going to ask you to please share not only this episode matters for other people to listen to, but please share information about the movement with anybody. I know every one of you MOOBs listening has at least one MOOB friend. So please share this community with those MOOBs in your life, because we are MOOB strong when we have more MOOBs in our community. And with that, I'm going to sign off like I always do, which is to tell you to hug your boys, trust your instincts, and remember that all boy moms and those who love us belong right here.